on some other shit?
These guys right here.
With like the 3 things in them? Yeah. Why do they call it the mothership? Because you just go into outer space?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of our first of our collections, and then the original right there, which is on 44 tubing, about 15 inches. Kind of one up from the Kiki, which is like your standard everyday use for wholesale, you know? Yeah. But that's, people are like, I want something with it. So it's just like a one up. Cool. This is us. I know my clothes.
Yeah, I know you do, now that I studied you. Right. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Faded Truth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the growth. I came out of retirement, okay, for my special guest today. We are live here at the Dream Factory by Jerome Baker. I'm so excited to have a cannabis connoisseur, the Ganjier managing director, an antique smoking paraphernalia aficionado, and a 40-year cultivator. I got Derek Gilman on the show. How you feeling?
I'm doing great, Angela. Thank you so much for having me here. What a cool spot to have an interview. The Jerome Baker workshop.
I know. It took me a while to find a spot, and that's why when I talked to you this week, I was really wondering if I was going to have to push it out, but you know how everything works in its favor, and we were supposed to be here.
It was meant to be.
We made it.
I think this is the biggest bong I've ever seen.
Yes. When I
by the
came
way.
here, I thought it was like one of those blow-up ones.
Okay.
But it's just glass. It's amazing.
No, I would need a ladder to use that. I'm too short for that one.
I think I hit like a 4-foot bong when I was younger in maybe like high school or middle school. And even that was when I realized like I'm not a bong hitter, and then I turned into a blunt smoker, right? And then I always liked the art of smoking it. But like I've been using my bong a little bit here and there now, putting some Northern Lights in at night maybe.
Well, very cool. I love what you're touching on because that is cannabis connoisseurship. Paying attention to what you're consuming and how you're consuming it.
Okay.
Right?
Because when you said connoisseurship, I was like, all right, well, I've heard of like sommelier comparable, right, with the Ganjier program.
Absolutely,
but I never heard it as. So now that I've done my research on you, I mean, I got a legend over here.
Let's not get crazy.
So I just want to start off because it said you were a 2nd-generation cultivator from California. So who was the first?
My dad.
Okay.
My dad was more of a hobbyist cultivator than a professional cultivator, but he taught me how to grow when I was in junior high school. I grew my first plant.
Wow.
I wasn't smoking just yet, to be clear, but I grew my first plant, and that's when my relationship with cannabis began.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's like your family was always in cannabis.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my dad was more of a dealer than a grower, but he had the hobbyist grow going on.
Wait, so what did you grow? What kind was it?
Back then, that's been many, many 2 moons and many 2 joints ago for me to remember what we grew. Likely he had some type of, equatorial seeds he may have collected. This is like the mid-'80s.
Okay.
Yeah, this
so
is
this
way
was before
back
there was like
when.
there's no apricot mimosa hanging out in the 80s.
No, like everything was called like where it was from.
Right.
It was Colombian, it was Mexican, it was Jamaican, maybe it was Michoacan or Oaxacan if it was from Mexico or,
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. So that's amazing because I grew up like, I actually started smoking with my dad when I was like 17 maybe, but my mom thought I was a drug addict for getting all my kids at graduation. We couldn't walk.
All right.
Because I went to a private school, Christian school for high school, and I got everyone to smoke weed at prom. And someone snitched to like the superintendent.
That it was you.
And so all of us couldn't walk. So, after that it was like, oh my God. And now it's just funny that I'm in this space that like my mom now has CBD gummies every night. She wants to actually smoke THC again after years and years of being paranoid, so it's like she needs that for her pain, her sleep, and people are starting to realize like how powerful the plant is. But it's just crazy to me because she's like, oh, I'm going to go to the dispensary and they grow their own. I already looked them up. They grow their own. And I'm like, what? Indoor? What are you talking about, Mom?
Now she knows. Now she's becoming a connoisseur, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So
the world has come around with cannabis legalization, or it's still coming around. It's a lot different than it used to be.
And you've had to see some shit in Cali with how the regulations and everything's been going and the raids and like all that stuff, right?
Overregulation. Unfortunately, the overregulation has been choking the small farmer. I hate to say, those that were, legacy growers, those have been growing all the killer herb for us over the past few decades. There's now an extinction event going on for them due to the overregulation.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It kind of sucks. But there's still a few great ones around. I brought some herb to
I'm
share
so
with
excited.
you.
Actually, look, I have this chest right?
Very cool.
And I decided to bring out this chest for you that Jerome Baker had here.
What do you have in here? Is this your
So,
chest?
yes,
Nice.
I brought some of the stuff that I'm currently smoking so we can kind of compare it. I want you to tell me what you think.
I like it.
And I even brought my magnifying glass if you want to get crazy. Because
Nice.
it's been a while since I magnified my weed.
So with cannabis, it's about the appearance. It's about the aroma. It's about the flavor. It's about that experience that it ultimately impacts. It's not just about getting high.
Right.
Okay, because you can consume cannabis and maybe it gets you high, or maybe it gets you stoned, depending on what you're consuming and how you're consuming it.
That's why I like to say I'm more conscious cannabis consumption, because when I smoked when I was younger, I was smoking since like 13, right? And I just would be smoking like blunts to the face, Dutches to the face, right, from Jersey. Then when I moved to Vegas, I switched to like White Owls and like things that stayed moist, right?
Wow.
And then I started realizing like I'm not going to try and stop smoking anytime soon, especially living in a cannabis-friendly state.
Sure.
So I'm like, what I need to do better. So then I switched to hemp wraps. So I smoke hemp now only instead of blunts and all that, because I'm like, I don't want to fuck my shit up because I'm trying to smoke forever. So now I'm trying to get into the joints, and that's perfect because you're going to help me roll a joint today.
Oh, all right. We can do that, definitely. Should we begin with the joint
let's
roll?
start with something. What do we want to start with? So I brought, shout out to Sierra Living Organics.
Nate.
Yes.
Nate
and Brandy.
Who happens to be a certified Ganjier, by the way.
Shout out to y'all, because they're making my strain, which is called Faded Brunch.
So cool.
And it's an apricot mimosa mixed with a Sierra cherries. And I did it because I'm a huge sativa person. I know we don't use those words when we get deep into it with the cultivars, but I like to be up, productive, do my shit, go to the gym. I go shopping. Like, I'm not trying to be down in the couch.
Active,
right?
engaged.
So, I'm making like hybrid kind of, because I don't want people to have that heavy limonene and get those heart palpitations. And some people, it's like coffee for them. They don't feel good, right? And that's why a lot of people don't like sativa. They like indica.
Yeah.
So I made the strain I'm making. It's like a balance. It's going to be like heavy on the terpinolene, pinene, and myrcene. So it's kind of like, I'm excited to see how it comes together.
Very cool.
And I'll be going up there in November to smoke it.
I'm sure Sierra Family Farms came in first place at the Emerald Cup this past year. So you chose an excellent farmer to partner with, and developing your own genetics.
So
cool.
I brought pineapple Thai, POG, pineapple orange guava.
Yep.
And I brought a Northern Lights phenotype 1 or 2, I believe. They got a lot.
All right. Well, let's put our noses into these.
So yes, this is the pineapple Thai, I believe, and that one's actually really it hits you. Like the apricot mimosa they have is one of my faves, but this one hits you harder than that. Like you feel it.
So when it comes to aroma, there's the intensity of the aroma. You do that initial jar pop. Okay, does it jump out at you, or do you need to kind of get it up into your nose?
Okay.
Or do you have to break it up before the aroma comes out? So that's the intensity, right? Beyond the intensity, there's the complexity. So there's how strong it is, and then there's like how many different things, how many different layers are you picking up? Yeah, like when you talked about that cross, you talked about the pineapple, orange guava, the pog, right? That's because it has each of those flavors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this one smells a lot more fruity.
That's nice.
That's the pog.
That definitely smells like a daytime. Mm-hmm.
Harrison, Hugo, want to smell?
Yes.
Shout out to Hugo, because I actually discovered the Sierra Family Farms at his house. He had the Cannabis Museum house for a while, and we had the giant nug. That was our background.
Oh, get out of here.
Giant Buddha.
Very cool.
Yeah, we had good times.
So what I'm picking up from these samples you have here, and I happen to know Nate, in Sierra Family Farms, that there are full season sun-grown farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're not doing any light depths that might be available, mid or late summer.
That's why I liked
nice.
them too, because they were like premium outdoor. They're really like on their shit, and that's why it took a little bit longer this year for them to harvest, because it was so cold. They said up there. It's been, they had a lot of snow this winter.
I'm picking up like a Valencia orange note off
See,
of that
this is like, and because he gave it to me, because he knows that I hate indica, but he was like, I think you might like it. It has a daytime pheno in it, so it actually doesn't put me like out like a normal indica would, but I still smoke that at night now. Yeah. Which before I had like a jar of indica and I would just raffle it off at like parties because I'm like, I'm not smoking this.
Too heavy, too strong.
So I like how I'm like now changing with it. So what'd you bring?
I brought some lemon cherry gelato from Fallen Oak Farms. This is in Salmon Creek area of southern Humboldt, a neighbor of mine. And this is some light dep. So this was harvested just a month ago.
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm going to let you pop the jar on that.
Wow.
So what I'm picking up from yours versus what I brought, because this is so fresh, and what I was saying about Sierra Family Farms is that's likely last year's harvest. That's likely a 2022 fall harvest.
I'm like, whatever you got. I don't want to go to the dispensary.
I don't blame you. This here is late summer 2023 light dep harvest, so it's much fresher. Hasn't been fully cured yet, so you're going to pick up some of the chlorophylls. You're going to get a lot of those.
It smells like very deep, like, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like I don't smell the lemon or the cherry. I smell like something completely
really rich.
Different.
There's some, yeah.
That smells really amazing. What does that smell when I'm picking up one?
In identifying aromas, it's a two-step process. It's the ability to detect and then the ability to interpret what you're detecting. The best way to go about it is to start broad and then go narrow. So in Ganjier, we have 5 aroma categories. We have fruit, fuel, floral, earth, and sweet. And so the best first thing to do in your process is try and identify what you're smelling. And you can either be like, oh, that's fruity, or it's not gas, it's not earth. It's either process of elimination if it doesn't just jump out to you and tell you what it is.
Right, because I feel like the earthy jumps out at you if it's earthy.
And so I explained it rather than tell you what I'm smelling, is we each have different detectors.
Can we go through those 5 again? You said fruity, fuel, earthy.
Floral, and sweet.
And sweet. So would this be fruity or sweet? I love how you close your eyes.
I'm getting earth and fruit off of
that. Because I know the fuel. So the fuel is like terpinolene, right?
So I have some fuel here.
Like when you say, "Oh, that's that gas."
I've got some gas right here. So close that up, and and tell me if there's any gas going on here. This is the RS11.
Can you take some video just this way? I mean, landscape. Portrait, whatever the fuck it's called.
So this is RS11, also from Fallen Oak Farms, also light dep that was harvested about 5 weeks ago now.
Where's Fallen Oak Farms at?
Salmon Creek, southern Humboldt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one smells definitely more earthy.
Yeah, and you should be getting some fuel off that too.
Earthy fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, and then at the end, it's like I get like a citrus, maybe.
That one is highly complex in my estimation. There is a whole lot going on in there.
Oh, it smells good.
I find the earth as you did, the fuel, the fruit. I love how you share with everybody here too. That's so cool.
Well, yeah, because everyone's got to, be part of it.
Yeah.
I did the cannabis cup. I did the cannabis cup like 2 years ago, I think. With I interviewed a guy from High Times, and then I ended up getting a cannabis cup thing, and that's when I had Nick at Sea.
All right.
He came on the show, but then we ended up doing like a live, and he helped me go through and do the questions because I was like, I don't know, what number this is, I don't even know what I'm doing. So he went through it with me and we did it. I wrote a little paragraph about each one, and I really liked, there was one from like Anthropology brand, which is like, I think a local brand. It was called Secret Triangle.
I thought that was a clothing brand.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just teasing.
I think it is.
Right. Nick is great. He has such a developed and mature palate. Nick T is traveling all over the globe. He's judging competitions. Right now he's in Copenhagen judging a competition.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the interview you did with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at all your interviews. So great.
Yeah.
What's our
we'll
third
cap
one?
this back up so we can keep those highly volatile aromatics in
That's
the
what I'm
jar.
saying, 'cause we're in Vegas.
And lastly, I brought this First Class Funk,
Woo!
also from Fallen Oak Farms.
First Class Funk. Okay, I feel like I dug too deep in there.
You got a little green on your nose afterwards.
I feel like it smells very similar to that one.
There is, I get fuel off this First Class Funk as well. I think there's some sour diesel genetics going on in here.
Okay.
If we look at one of the flowers in this jar, we can see that structure, and it's got a very sour diesel type of structure to it. This kind of elongated structure as opposed to these little.
Tree.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize the structure and how it grows. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I
That's
want
the
to smoke
appearance.
this. Is this RS11? Wait, which one do I like? No, the lemon cherry gelato. Is that going to be like down?
It won't be down, but it'll likely be more.
If we all share, we'll be fine.
More potent than your typical too.
Okay.
More potent than what you've been smoking on here. Likely.
All right. I want to try the lemon cherry gelato.
All right. Very cool.
I brought my Wocket just in case, because you can never go wrong with your Wocket. So wait, I didn't even know it charges for like years, right? I haven't charged it since I got it at your party. It's like
electric. Grinder?
It's an electric grinder. It's
Whoa.
amazing.
Whoa.
But
I've never
it
seen one of
lasted over
those.
2 years. They say it lasts a pound. That's what he told me. I was thinking it was like a pound probably. I'm like, oh shit.
It's got like little chain links in there as the blades.
Yeah, and it just like
little...
takes the stem out. It's great. So this is how I grind my weed. I was wondering because I saw, I looked at your little, you had your little things, out on your little ways that instruments to use for cannabis, right?
Yeah. My tools. I love my tools. Here, hold that.
Wow.
That's a stainless steel grinder because I don't want any aluminum or any aluminum shavings getting into what I'm consuming. Aluminum's
is
not
that
good
what
for
most
you.
of them are made out of?
A lot of them, yeah. Most metal grinders are aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that you use matches now instead of a lighter.
I do use matches. I brought my match safe. I just recently acquired this one here. This was made by a Spanish artist back in the 1870s. His name is Placido Zuloaga. Was known for doing damascene work. The damascene work is when they take silver and gold and they inlay it into iron as they have there and decorate it. It's a specialized technique that only certain craftsmen did back in the day, and he was known as being one of the finest.
How do you start it though? Is it on the bottom of it?
I will demonstrate after we roll the joint.
Okay,
But there's a little striker on the side here, and it's just beep.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts.
Thank you.
Okay, so you brought some rolling papers. You brought all your tools, your grinder.
No, you
your
brought
papers.
I brought hemp wraps because I don't. I'm like, I know I need the teacher to teach me here.
Well, you're gonna have fun today.
Yes.
Because I'm using these crazy vintage papers. I use these club papers. You can read what it says on the back there if you like.
Handmade club cigarette papers have no additives. So pure fibers entwine when wet and leave no ash when burned. They are as light as a butterfly's wing.
See?
Wait, so pure fibers entwine when wet and leave no ash when burned. You don't have ash that comes off of your
There's
joint?
no ash. There's no ash off the paper. We could burn one of these papers and you'll see that it just leaves nothing
What the hell?
whatsoever. And they're also glueless papers.
Nice.
All this, and they're really light. So all that means they're really tricky to roll with.
I'm like, okay, on my first one,
said,
I'm getting the most pure.
I got a trick here. We'll make it a little bit easier. So I use these double wide papers that come folded in half. I typically lick down the center, and then I get two single wides, just as this one here. And it's pre-torn, and that torn edge serves as the glue, the pure fibers intertwining.
Okay.
Okay? For you, I'm just going to take off this top edge. so that the pure fibers can intertwine, but leave more paper because I think ultimately it's going to make it easier for you to roll.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yeah. And I was going to say I got short nails, but I lied. Usually I'm too aggressive, so I did roll a joint like maybe once, and then I gave up and just went back to my hemp wraps because I can roll them so fast.
It takes some practice, like anything, to get good at it. All right.
Good. Okay. All right, so I'm going to break up some of this lemon cherry gelato then.
Yeah.
This gave me some deep feelings.
What I am doing here is I am folding this paper on the bottom portion, and I'm making like a little trough, and that's going to hold the ground up herb when you put it in there. And the fold line will also give this a little stability, so hopefully it doesn't all drop out on you. That thing worked like a champ.
It's amazing. I haven't used a grinder in years.
Very cool. Is that running a little 9-volt or something?
Yeah, I don't know what's in there. I think so. I don't know. It's rechargeable though, so I don't know.
Oh, cool. It's got rechargeable batteries.
Yeah, so he just came out with a new one.
How long you had that?
Waka. For a couple years.
Really?
Yeah. But it's great.
That's the first time I've seen one of those. I pride myself on being up to date with all the current tools.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, so look, this can go in your tools. And you can be like, look, and you want to skip everything. Just,
right.
So which one are you rolling up? We should roll up 2 separate ones.
Yeah, I will do this first class funk, I believe. Is what I'll roll up.
Have you smoked any of these yet?
Of course I have. I've been smoking these daily.
Okay. So what's your favorite strain from them?
I've been smoking that RS11 to put me to sleep at night.
Okay, good thing we didn't smoke that one.
I do enjoy that lemon cherry gelato during the day.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying this first class funk too.
And I like how when you break it up, it smells a little different too. Like I learned that when I was doing the cannabis cup.
It opens up some of those aromatics that otherwise might be hiding out in there. Mm-hmm. Age, storage of the herb, something really fresh like this is going to have a lot going on. It's going to be pretty loud. Something that has a bit more age to it may not open up until you ground it.
So when you started doing the high roller show, that was a year or 2 ago? It's been since...
I've been doing Ganjier for the last 3 years. It's actually been 4 years since I filmed my last high rollers, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's been a while. Yeah.
So what happened? Were you a Ganjier first or after?
I did high rollers first. High rollers kind of evolved into Ganjier.
That's what I was thinking, because when I was watching the interviews, it seemed like you guys were new to each other at that time, right?
Yeah. I knew most of my guests. I'd been hired on by Green Flower Media to do cultivation content, teach people how to grow cannabis plants. And through that, I started reaching out to all the people I'd been following on YouTube and online and the growers forums, which meant going up to Humboldt, or Mendocino and working with Swami Chaitanya, or Kevin Jodrey, or some of the others that I worked with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and through that process, I got to be friends with them, and I came up with this idea for a smoke show. And fortunately, Green Flower let me do it.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like we're in like the little high roller lounge. Like we got the little warm setting.
I'm having a little nostalgia moment here. I got to tell you,
that's what I'm saying. It always
we're here
works
in the
out.
club chairs. Okay,
always works out. You're the best.
Yeah.
So, what do you like? What did you enjoy most about interviewing people?
I am a real geek when it comes to the tools and techniques and methods for elevating your enjoyment of the consumption experience. And what I learned is connoisseurs all have their own little different ways for doing things. And through high rollers, I got to bring in, these hash processors like Nicotee or Frenchy Cannoli.
Mm-hmm.
I got to bring in these multi-generational cultivators and learn their techniques, the tools they like to use. And so it was great for me. It was just right up my alley. Just getting to pick their...
So much,
what's that you got there?
Like
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, on your show, you're like, well, I'm excited. What'd you bring? I'm excited to see it. That's like me. I'm like, yes, sweet.
All right. So I see you're all ground up, ready to go.
I'm ground up.
What I typically do, so here, you can use this. I brought 2 of these.
Thank you.
Get my other one out here. And we're going to scoop up. We're going to look to see if there's any immature seeds in here. I just found a little seed. You have something different, so not likely in yours, but worth a look. If there's any little stems that maybe that grinder didn't break up completely, a little stick that might poke through the paper, we want to get that out now. We want a pretty homogeneously ground little pile of herb. Okay, so let's take our rolling papers.
So this is what I'm going to.
So we're going to have that off to the side, just ready. Okay.
So then I'm fourth gear?
No, we're all good. We're going to use this to scoop the herb, and we're going to pre-form the joint, is what I like to do. And to be clear, this isn't the best way to roll. This is my way to roll. Everybody rolls a little bit differently.
Right.
Swami likes to kind of pack them. Nicotee likes to kind of fold the way he does his roll. Me, this is how I do it. You're getting the Derek Gilman way today, Angela. So I like to see. I kind of get it right along in there.
Okay, I'm on the opposite side.
Because now it's exactly the same size as the length of the paper.
Okay. So there's no guessing.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a little early step we're doing here. And you want it to kind of be just, as evenly across the top. Yep, that's very good. Okay. Real nice. Cool. So now we're going to get our paper. And we're going to hold it in our... Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, me too. So we're going to hold that in our left hand. I tend to kind of... Yeah, just like that's fine. Cool. We're going to ease the herb in. We're not going to drop it in. Okay, we're just going to ease it in. So I just line that thing just like that.
Oh.
Go back and forth a little, and it's almost right. Should be kind of mostly lined up there at this point.
So you ease it in on the crisp side or the longer side? You ease it in on the shorter side?
Yeah, okay. So you want the edge with the fibers pointing up here. So you're gonna need to flip it over.
Right.
Or you need to flip the paper around with the torn edge up here. Up top, there you go. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now ease that in there. Cool. You got it. What I now do is so I'm trying to squeeze a lot of herb into a little paper, as you can see.
Right. I'm like, I don't know if I need more.
Now it's just about, again, making sure everything's even across. You don't want any kind of little, fat spots along the way. And I start pushing the herb in on mine and pinching the top closed. And that just gets all the herb in place there. And hopefully not too much falls out the ends while I'm doing it.
I just always do this thing where I roll it kind of.
The back and forth. See, I gave you a little extra paper. It's almost like a little rolling machine kind of technique where you kind of, you're firming it up in there. You're firming it up because if it's too loose, when you go to roll it, it's just going to shoot out the ends.
Right.
So that's what I just did. I just
need
firmed.
to add more weed.
I just firmed everything up. That's a good idea. Can't go wrong with that. I like the way you think.
Yeah. It's too much paper.
I like the way you think. Yeah.
Too much disintegrating paper.
It may disintegrate on you. Hopefully not. I'm going to finish mine up here. This is nice sticky herb, so it's holding together real well. It's holding onto the paper. So when I do my tuck and roll, everything's just going to hopefully hold into place. There we go.
Okay, so when you're rolling though, you're just putting this, you're licking this part and then putting it over?
You don't want to lick yet. Lick is going to be one of the last things you do. You're doing that, what you did a minute ago, where you're kind of firming it in there, making sure it's not too loose. And literally, you can push down on it, and the paper won't tear as long as you're just even with that pressure. You can really want to firm it up in there. You don't want to make it too tight, but you want to firm it up. There you go. That way, it's If you see it still kind of shooting up on the ends on you, firm up those ends a little.
Because I'm used to holding it this way. It's like different, because I'm used to rolling and like going like this with my blunts.
Is that how you typically? Oh,
gotcha. And then I lick it.
We all have our own technique, like I said. I've gotten you this far. You might be better off doing your typical technique than trying to do what I do for the first time. It might not work out.
I'm losing weight, guys. Okay, so I'm here now.
That's why you put extra in. Yeah, and just kind of roll it on up there. Kind of tuck that bottom edge, which now the bottom edge is now, gets tucked in. Be kind of tight now, but even with that pressure, if you're even with the pressure, you can go nice and tight and it won't rip on you.
Okay.
But if you go too loose, then it's when stuff starts shooting out. Little tuck and rolling it up with the thumbs. Is it working out?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think maybe this side's a little tighter than this side, but...
That's okay.
Okay, and now lick it?
Yeah, when you feel that it's ready for that final little... That's a technical term.
It's uneven, but I always roll it like it's like a snake that ate a rabbit or like a rat. And it's just big in the middle.
That's what we used to call them back in the day, yeah.
So I'm licking the whole thing?
You're licking along that edge.
Okay.
You're licking along that torn edge. Just lick along that upper torn edge, and then you want to get that edge down.
But do you use your finger or your lip? Do I use it like a blunt? Or
what I'm doing is I typically I lick it, I roll it all up, and then sometimes there's some edges that haven't gone down, and then I'll kind of use my tongue and lips just to ease those down.
Okay.
Once you get it all down, once it's all rolled up, then just set it down and let it dry for a minute. Once you feel that you do it kind of like Nicotine does. He does this kind of like fold over.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to like a roll. It's kind of like he gets to a point and then folds it down. Hey! I think it looks smokable.
Yeah, Ash, that's all you need.
It looks like a fatty too. It's kind of got like a little hump to it.
I told you. It's like a little humpback whale.
Sweet. All right.
Okay, so how we lighten it?
How we lighten it.
Because now you got your...
I have a special little joint holder I like to use. So this here, Angela, is Sir Smokes-A-Lot.
Oh my God, I love him. I was hoping you were going to bring me something cool like this.
Of course. Sir Smokes-A-Lot is a finger ring cigarette holder from the 1920s.
1920. Where do you find these antiques at?
Lots of searching online, antique shops, auction houses.
Oh, look, he's pole dancing like me. He's rolling up. So I actually had this, my friend bought me like a joint holder like this.
Cool.
And everyone thought it was so dumb, but I'm like, it's so cool because I had it on my finger. And I'm like, no, it's perfect because I'm like,
your hands free, the joint's always there, you're doing stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's fun.
And it was a bee. It was like it looked like a little Gucci bee, but you put the joint between it kind of clamped.
Oh, nice.
But this is so cute. So what's your favorite antique that you found?
This fellow's high on the list.
Okay.
For sure. I'm using him daily. Pretty much with every joint I smoke. I'm pretty proud of this recent match safe that I found.
Go live.
My rolling tray here is it's a sterling silver tray made in 1918, Tiffany, London. Tiffany rolling tray. How many people have a Tiffany rolling tray?
Oh, like Tiffany's?
100 years old. Like Tiffany's, yes, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm like,
that's
I didn't know that was her full name.
Yeah.
Nice. So I think a lot of your stuff's like sterling.
A lot of it's sterling, gold. I like precious metals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the one that you had on your little YouTube video, right? This black one?
Yeah, so this is that's my joint holder. That's from 1898.
Wow.
Made out of ebony and sterling.
Got the last name initial on here.
Got the last name initial on there and a couple joints inside.
And the joints inside, yes. What up, Remy? Shout out to Remy, too, because Remy connected this whole thing. We're on live.
I didn't know we were live. You didn't say, geez, I thought you were filming. How cool.
Well, no, I just went live now because I want to smoke it. So we're here with Derek Gilman, and we are at Dream Factory here with Jerome Baker and his big bongs, filming a bonus episode. Y'all thought I was gone, but I'm back.
Back to smoke with me.
Back.
Because I brought good herb.
Yes, because I'm like, if I'm gonna come out for anybody, it's gonna be definitely cannabis. Okay, so we just rolled some lemon cherry gelato. You rolled some first class funk, and
We're about to light up.
I just rolled my first joint, y'all. Well, probably like my second joint, but this one actually I think is gonna smoke right. So
it looks like it's gonna smoke right. It's got that look to it. All right.
Okay, so we're lighting with matches.
We are lighting with matches. Again, I brought my my match safe from the 1870s. Feel free to show that cool piece off.
Match safe. So I know that you said basically like I love how you're a bougie smoker. Like you're like me. I'm like people are like you need your glass tip. I'm like yes. But you said basically when you do the lighter, you taste the fuel through
you gotta
the
careful.
joint because when I was doing the cannabis cup, I realized the dry hitting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
When I was learning the Ganjier stuff, I realized you guys dry hit it. That's why it's like better to put it in paper because you can actually like taste and get the aroma and all that stuff.
And what a great point. We should dry hit now before we spark up.
All right, let's dry hit.
So up until now, we smelled it. We used our olfactory glands. And now for the first time, we're engaging our taste buds.
It still tastes very gassy to me. Fuel. I'm getting a lot of fuel out of this.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get very high off that, Angela. You've been warned.
What?
I said you're going to get very high off that.
I'm excited. I came prepared to get high. I haven't smoked in like 4 hours.
Cool. All right. So when it comes to lighting a joint, I prefer to light my joints the same way that cigar smokers do, for the same reasons that they do it. Pretty much any heat source has the ability to impart some flavor into your joint, whether it's a Bic and that cheap fuel that's in a Bic, or even my matches that are putting off soot. If you draw that flame into the joint as you're lighting it, puff, 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 with the flame right there, you're drawing in the soot. You're drawing in the nasty residue from that Bic lighter, all right? And if you need any, just take a Bic lighter and hold it under a ceramic plate. You'll see this nasty soot mark there. But beyond that, smell that soot mark, and it's going to reek of just nasty fuel. You don't want to smoke that. We want gas, but we don't want Bic lighter gas.
Okay. We don't want to inhale it.
So what we do is we toast the joint. Just like cigar smokers do. All right? And by toasting it, I mean just lighting the very end without drawing the flame through. And by doing so, we won't impact the flavor of the joint. Matches are fun too. A little bit of flare, they spark up like that.
I love how you're like, I wonder how many you're going to switch to matches. I'm like, me.
And a little showmanship to it.
Oh, so you're going to light it for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we'll do, hold it. We're going to get just the end. We don't want to draw it. Hold the end up. Otherwise, the flame will run up the joint. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, because I always felt like like with joints, they burn too fast too. And I would be like wasting weed.
Catch just the end of this. If the tip catches flame, you can hold it up. There it goes. Hold it upright. Hold it upright there. Blow on the end. Blow, blow. And now inhale. It should be lit. Look at that. And
I only got one little nug in my mouth with my new joint.
Nick T calls those Scooby snacks.
Mahalo from Jersey. Yes, Jersey! Oh yeah, I forgot Remy's in Jersey. Shout out to Remy and Leatherbound Crooks. He actually gave me my first dab.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I took like my second one maybe like last month. And it was actually pretty good. I was like, I'm getting more open because before I was just like, I just want flour.
I don't think you want to do dabs during the daytime if you want to stay active and mentally engaged, though. Save those for the nighttime.
So now, on my taste buds, it's like...
What are you tasting?
It's definitely gassy, but it's got a different... I feel like it's got a softer...
So, there's been a lot of talk lately about terpenes.
Mm-hmm.
the flavor and aroma compounds that are in cannabis. Labs are now testing for terpenes. However, it turns out that there are hundreds of compounds responsible for the aroma and flavor of cannabis, beyond just terpenes. There's other classes of chemical compounds, aldehydes, esters, ketones, that all contribute to the aroma and flavor of cannabis. Each of these chemical compounds has a different point at which it becomes active, at which point it volatilizes, and it's temperature-based. So when we first cracked these jars open, we were getting the most volatile compounds that volatilize at low temperatures, volatilizing at room temperature. When we spark it and we put the flame to it, and now we're heating these compounds, there's other compounds that open up and volatilize that we begin to taste.
Yeah, because the terpenes, like, it gets deep with that too. But there's just so much in cannabis, like in the cannabis plant, that we haven't even discovered yet.
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
That's why, it's like when you say sativa indica now, it's like people are like, no, you can't say that. I'm like, well, it's the easiest way, because people that aren't weed nerds, they don't know that they need like more, pinene or more. I was, was it farnesene? Farnesene? Farsene, I think. Farnesene. It was like heavy in this brand that I got.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I never smoked that one. But this guy actually at the party that I was at, he had like a terpene list. And it was like, here, what do you want to feel like? I was like, this is awesome. And he was like, yeah, people love that. People love to learn, because most people, like you said, think, okay, I'm going to smoke and get high. But, how long are you going to just smoke and just get high and stoned for?
Which direction do you want to go?
Right.
Are you going to a party or a concert and you want to stay engaged? You're just ready to relax and just chill and watch a movie or something.
Is this the one I just gave you, or is this different?
No, this is mine. That's yours. I rolled one myself.
Oh, this is mine?
Yeah.
I don't know why. It hits smoother the third time. What are you smoking?
I don't know. It's some stuff I brought. Have you heard of Humo Farm?
Who?
Humo? Humo?
No, I don't know Humo.
Better switch it up then.
So,
well,
tell me
what's going on over there.
I'm already high.
Oh, yeah. As promised. Yeah. Like I mentioned, this is, sure. You want to try Sir Smokes a lot?
Yes. I love it.
Of course, happy to share.
Yes, here you go. Sorry. You can smoke my first made weed. Look, guys, this is a real joint. A professional.
Oh, yeah. It's very different.
What do you taste in that one?
Definitely getting the cherry off this.
That's what I was going to say. Like, out of everything, I feel like I could taste a little cherry, but not. Oh, is this like bubbling?
It sounds like it's making noise of some sort. It's getting excited because we're smoking next to it.
I love this is Sir Smokes a lot. He's from what?
It's from the 1920s.
1920s.
Made in France.
Crazy. You know what's crazy?
Gold.
I wanted to do, y'all don't steal my idea. I wanted to do a smoking shop, and I wanted to smoke and then go right into like an antique store.
And see how much money you spend?
And do like a little like series or some shit, like smoking shop, because I'm like, I love finding random shit. Like me and my dad used to be in Burlington Coat Factory for fucking hours when I was little.
Yeah.
Just getting random ass shit. So I'm like, that would be like one of my little skits I would do.
Activities that are fun while smoking, and shopping is definitely on that list.
Only antique shops though. I don't want to go to like a mall. I want to go find some old school shit.
Something unique, something different. And that's the idea, again, around cannabis connoisseurship. I mentioned to you, it's about what you're smoking and how you're smoking it. By introducing various tools into that, and it doesn't have to be a gold, smoking tool from 100 years ago. It could be whatever, inspires you, whatever's your taste, whatever's your style. It could be something you made. It could be something that was handed down from a relative.
I love how it's something not ashing.
I'm
sorry, I just realized. I'm like, you're right. It doesn't ash.
The joint itself, the cannabis is going to leave an ash, but the paper doesn't impart any ash to it.
Because of our pure fibers over here. Cheers.
I need to spark this one again.
First time we're joined, okay? Won't stay lit.
It's all right. Still tasted good.
All right, so this one, what's this one? First Class Funk. I mean, that one definitely hits harder, like that cherry gelato. This one's nice though.
It's just so fun smoking them back to back and comparing the flavors, right? They're very different from one another.
Oh, like going back and forth? My lip gets stuck with the joint.
I used some chapstick before I got started.
Are y'all smoking, Mister? Smokes a lot?
It's just more fun, isn't
Yes.
it? Having a personalized tool.
Okay, so you left Humboldt?
I left Humboldt to come here for a couple of days. I live there now. Yeah, I moved to Southern Humboldt in February of 2022. Acquired the Ganjier campus.
Yes, so Ganjier managing director.
Yeah.
And like, what do you like most about being like in the program? Because it's pretty crazy. Like my friend did it, and this was like before I really got into it. And so he was just telling me like, oh, I'm gonna go do the school, but he finished it super quick, so that and then he went to the farms and all that stuff. And they just told him like, be ready to be the highest you've ever been. Like you're literally just gonna be the highest you've ever been this whole time.
Yeah, we definitely assessed some herb during the Ganjier classes. My favorite part, other than getting to move to Southern Humboldt, which has always been a dream of mine, is interacting with the students, actually. Working with Greenflower, doing the cultivation videos that I mentioned, it was always just putting them out online, so there wasn't a real connection that was happening. But now we have people coming from all over the planet to the Ganjier program.
So you guys are accepting applications starting when? Is it over for the year?
Our next enrollment opens up middle of October.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We're just about a month away from opening up.
Maybe I'll just. Yes. That's probably when I'll air it then. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Ganjier has been really, really fun and cool. As I mentioned, we've got students coming in from all over the planet. I got really high off this. I'm
already really high. I'm looking at you and I'm like stoned, but I'm like, we're in a great place because it's like the table's flashing. I mean, we're just around a bunch of bongs. Shout out again to Jerome Baker and his bong factory at the Dream Factory here. And Operation Pipe Dreamer, shout out to them too.
There's some technique to lighten a match.
I'm like, am I going to fuck your shit up?
No, you're not going to fuck it up. I just want to watch you
go.
But you could just
I'm going to put my joint down for this.
There you go. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Put the head straight down onto it and go across fast. Ooh, almost caught.
Come on, 1920s.
It takes a little practice. It didn't work. It turns out it didn't work.
I just fucked the match up.
We're gonna need a fresh one. I'll teach you how to light.
I gotta learn how to do a match now.
I like to hold the tip of my finger closer to the head of the match when I do the strike. So closer here. And like a quick little flick of the wrist.
I'm getting the flick of my wrist. I don't want to get my nail. Just got these.
You will get the nail. Oh, look at that.
Okay. So you said hold it upright, right?
Exactly. If you were to hold the tip down, the flame would just run up the joint.
Right.
And you'd fuck it up. That should be good. Blow out the match so you don't burn yourself.
Thank you. You caught it right before my nail.
Yes.
I mean, for my first, I guess, like second joint in my life, that I rolled. I'm gonna give it a fucking 4.
Not too bad. It's not too bad. It's smoking. It's gone out a couple times, but it's smoking.
I know you said that you grew when you were super young. But do you remember the first time that you smoked and got high and was like, wow, what the fuck?
Yeah, I do. I was a sophomore in high school, and I came home curious after watching my dad and all his friends smoke my entire life. I just decided to put a lighter to his little ceramic bong that he had, while he was away one day, and I hit this thing. Yeah, and it spoke to me right off the bat.
I got high like the second time I smoked.
You didn't get high the first time?
No.
I've heard about that.
I just got a headache. I mean, we were probably just smoking some dirt out this, we made it like a foil pipe, and then we took like the filter out of like the sink, the faucet. We took like the filters out back then and put it in.
Use that as the screen?
That was our little, I made like a little weed crack pipe out of foil. We were smoking in
Very
the woods.
Very MacGyver of you.
Yeah. We were smoking in the woods. Shout out to my girl Jess. And and I just we were just worried about cops coming or some shit. Like,
who got the herb?
I don't know. I mean, I had weed.
I'm not saying. I'm not naming names.
I don't even know where we got it from, but I had weed one point, and I thought all right, I'm about to get high. I'm about to put this weed in my cake, right? So I had dry weed, and I put it in this piece of chocolate cake I had at the house. And I ate it thinking I was gonna get high. Yeah. That was before I knew anything about baking.
It's like a weed brownie.
Yeah, and I just got a big headache. And so it's just funny now that I'm fucking with Ganjiers and people 40-year cultivator guys. Come on.
So
that's crazy.
I was born, I'm gonna date myself here. I was born in 1969 to a couple of hippies. Cannabis has been in my bloodstream since before I was on the planet. Smoke was ever present in the air. I'm sure it was in my mom's lungs while I was in the womb. Some of my earliest memories are literally being in a darkened living room in the smoke circle with my parents and their folks. I'm 4 or 5 years old. And just being that link in the chain, just making sure that it got over to the next person, in the circle.
That's crazy.
I came home in 3rd grade, came home from school one day, and there was bales of weed in the house, hay bale size. It was different. I was growing up in the 70s and ultimately the 80s. And
that's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, you had to be quiet. I couldn't tell anybody. My folks and all their buddies were freaks.
So did friends ever ask to come to your house?
Yeah, and it was, and more often than not, I couldn't bring people over. Yeah, right. Because I'd drug parents.
Johnny goes home Mom.
That's what I saw.
There's got a lot of hay in his house.
Hay bales in the
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome though. What a great way to just come up in learning about the plant, and this the deeper I get learning about it, it's just great. It's great because I know I talked to you earlier this week and I was kind of down, and I told you I was on a break. I was excited to not do anything with media and all this, it just gets to you sometimes. But then when I it's just everyone has their roller coasters, and I'm still adapting to that in my life, especially in media, right? Because it's it's enough to do it on your own, but then being present, it's a lot. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming out. I'm excited that we did this, and it always just makes me remember why I started the show was to break the stigma of weed, to really do a plants over pills thing. I've just influenced so many people around me to get off pharmaceuticals and just get on minerals, herbs, and weed is just one of those healing herbs that's part of my life. So
just having a passion.
Yeah, and that's what it's crazy because that's what I said. I probably wouldn't come out for something with music or something, but it's weed. I'm oh yeah, this is great. We're about to really get into it. It's when you're passionate about it, it shows.
So every other gustatory industry, from wine to coffee to chocolate, cigars, cheese, has trained professionals that guide consumers in their experience and assess the quality. Okay?
Right.
In wine, it's sommeliers. In cheese, it's cheesemongers. In chocolate, it's chocolatiers. The cigar, catadors. And now in cannabis, we have Ganjiers.
Yes. I'm excited for y'all's future.
Yeah.
I mean, when I talked to Madame Cannoli, she was like, "You should probably do the Ganjier thing." I'm like, "Eventually, I'll get there. I got a lot on my list, but my first thing is going to be going to get my weed. I'm excited to smoke it Faded Brunch for the first time this year.
Faded Brunch, when's that?
Faded Brunch, by the end of the year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Far out, here in Vegas?
No, it's going to be with Sierra, so I'm going to have to...
You going to do it in NorCal?
Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
I'm excited because I'm going to go interview them in the plants, you know, and like just...
I have an amazing chef that I can put you into contact with.
Okay.
If you're looking for somebody to do the catering. It's up there in NorCal.
Oh, catering. No, I wasn't getting fancy, but shit. I love it that you're bougie. I love it. I was like, what am I going to eat up there? But they said it's like wine. It's a little like wine town too. So I'm going to go around and yeah, it'll be fun.
You better come visit the Ganjier campus when you come up.
Well, now that I know, yeah, I'm definitely stopping by. Send me the Addy. I'll be right there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So do you think, because you were interviewing people for a while, right?
Yeah.
And so do you think there's like a question that you've asked somebody that kind of shocked them? Do you remember anything that's like, people were like, wow, I'm surprised, you know, because do you go in blind on your interviews or?
Yeah, the guests don't know what questions I'm going to ask ahead of time, just like here today. I had a guest on, I had Steve D'Angelo on. And you know who Steve D'Angelo is? He's a well-known advocate of cannabis since the 1970s. Founded Harborside Dispensary in Oakland, one of the largest dispensaries in California. Nice. So I had Steve D'Angelo on, and he's this, he's the front man for this large business now. He has this black market legacy and history. However, it had been a while since he spoke about it. So when I had him on, I didn't want to talk about all his latest achievements and his great, this big dispensary that he's running. I wanted to talk about the black market days. And I think I may have caught him a little off guard with that. Yeah, and it was cool. And he broke out some great stories about, smuggling in Mexico and finding weed off the coast of Florida.
Yeah. No, and I love it because I was like looking at your videos and you have a lot of support. You know, like people in the cannabis community really do love this type of stuff, and they love learning about it, and it's just crazy how many growers there are around the country. And
there's a lot of weed nerds out there.
Yeah, Weed Nerd Nation.
Okay.
Shout out to Mendo Dope.
Yeah. People just like geeking out on the details. It's not just about, what's the cheapest herb I can get to get high and moving on. It's about taking your time and paying attention to that aroma like we did. And we compared and contrasted, right? We're paying attention to the tools we're using. We're comparing the flavors between the two joints. When you're passionate about something,
and we're high
that's
as
what
hell.
You do. We're high as hell in the process.
Do you have like a favorite interview you did? Because I know you did Frenchie, R.I.P. to Frenchie. But I know you had Frenchie on there. You had Nicotine. You had Mean Gene, which was your favorite grower at the time?
Yes, my favorite grower and breeder. At the time, he was the only other grower that I would smoke.
That's to be your favorite. Like, that's like legendary.
It was cool. So
to impress you.
Mean Gene, right? High Rollers episode. No idea what I'm going to do with him. Morning of, I go pick him up. I'd flown him down from NorCal down to where I was at the time. I wasn't in NorCal. I flew him down. And we're driving to the studio. And I'm like, so, what'd you bring, man? He's like, well, I got like 8 different flavors. And I'm just like, whoa, 8? Holy shit. What are we going to do with 8 flavors, man? And I'm like, I got an idea. We're going to do a little mini cup. All right. And we're going to smoke them all. And we're just going to compare them all from one to the next.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when you had them on the
table.
table.
Sounded like a great idea at the time, right? So now we lays them out on the table. And 8 joints, we got like 1 or 2 joints in before it's like, hey, we're not going to smoke the whole joint of each of these. It's too much. Maybe a third
right,
of each to get the
taste
flavor.
Test them.
Yeah. And then we started out, we were going to, hey, we're going to break it all up by hand. We're not using grinders, because that was his way of doing it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it like Mean Gene and break it up by hand. His herb is so sticky. So sticky.
That's why,
Okay? So we do the very first one. And you see these papers, they're coming apart in my hands like I couldn't roll it. It's like wiping the resin off on my jeans. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you remember your favorite out of the 8?
His root beer.
Root beer.
His root beer.
Wow. What is that like? What is that? What
Literally
is the profile
tastes like root beer. Like a licorice root.
So it would be earth?
Yeah, it was earthy, sweet, because, root beer has the sugar in it as well. It's not just pure,
I don't know if I had cat piss one time, and this guy had this giant bag of it, and we just took some out, and I'm like, I don't want to smoke something that's like cat piss. I'm like, it fucking stinks. It smells like cat piss.
Did it literally smell?
It smelled, and I smoked it. It was like one of the best fucking sativas I ever had, and I was like, fuck. I'm like, I don't want to smoke this. Shout out to that guy in the parking lot.
Yeah, you never know what's going to speak to you in the end, okay? Maybe it's cat piss.
Do you have any advice for cannabis growers since you've been, around it? You're 40 years in, really? That's, crazy. So it's I don't know. It's what's something that everyone could use in their own?
I would start by anybody who is a cannabis enthusiast, just anybody who enjoys it, who hasn't grown, should try growing a plant, because that's really where you deepen the relationship with the plant. Something different happens when you grow it. Something different happens when you smoke what you grew. It's just a different level of connection. People garden tomatoes. If you've ever had some, your friends or relatives.
Greenhouse.
Okay, those tomatoes are probably some of the best tomatoes. Way better than you're getting in the store, right? The same holds true for cannabis. But unlike the tomato, and not to be crude, but you're going to eat the tomato and your body's going to process it in relatively short order. You smoke the cannabis, or you eat the cannabis, you consume the cannabis, it binds with you on the most intimate of levels. It binds with you on the nerve receptor level. All right? And it stays in your system for weeks on end. So, growing the plant, understanding in the end that it's a life form, that it's that it's something that provides food, fuel, fiber, medicine, recreation. It's sometimes a lot of people just kind of lose that connection and just remember, it's herb, let's get high and all.
Right.
But that thing started as a living creature.
I love plant medicine.
Yeah.
So it's all this.
And then for experienced growers, for me, the best herb is sun-grown, outdoor. The plants are happiest there. They seem to fulfill.
Do you think,
with
all the climate stuff that's happening, all this, how we're seeing all this crazy weather, especially, on the West Coast? I mean, when this was the craziest winter we had in Vegas. And, that's why, they had to push out harvesting and stuff this year. So
things are a little different in places.
Do you feel like anything's going to change, or are you just going to have to adapt with it? Do you feel like everyone can grow outdoor in the U.S. no matter what?
Cannabis likes certain conditions. It doesn't like too much humidity, for example, especially near harvest time. You can get a lot of mold with humidity near harvest time. There's places that think they can grow good cannabis there. But good cannabis is relative in the end. I've been places where they're growing a lot of moldy cannabis now, unfortunately. There's certain areas that it just doesn't make sense to grow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the East Coast is booming now with cannabis.
Probably mostly indoor. There might be places like Kentucky. I think there's some places, and there's a couple other states out there where the weather's right, but generally it's pretty humid on the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's like, hey, you want to come back home because, weed's legal now? And I'm like, no, there's nothing that will make me want to move back there. But shout out to y'all. Miss you. All right, so as far as coming up, we got Ganjier next month. If you want to sign up, anybody that wants to sign up for it. We are opening enrollment middle of October through the end of the year. Okay. Yes. Limited amount of seats each year. We sell out each year. Nice. So and it's can you just tell a little bit about what they'll experience on that? Absolutely. Yeah. The Ganjier program is a 3-step program where we have an online component where we have 10 online courses
about 35 hours of content, video, reading, 10 courses from history to botany, science, cultivation, genetics, consumption, business. Yeah, so that's the online component. After that, we have a 2-day in-person training at the Ganjier campus in Southern Humboldt, and where we go through the skill set. The idea being we deliver knowledge and skill set through the program. Knowledge we deliver through the online component, and the skill set is done in person. And so the 2-day live training, we have a minimum of 5 Ganjier council member instructors there. Nikki is there almost every time. Swami Chaitanya, Kevin Jodry, myself, Wendy Kornberg, and Aaron Varney does our business course. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, we do a farm tour in the in-person training where we go to one of the local sun-grown farms, either Huckleberry Hill right now, which has the kick-ass Whitethorn Rose, or Fallen Oak Farm, like we shared today.
I want to just like hit the farms on the way when I do my Cali trip.
Yeah.
Like I just want to start in Sierra, then go down, and then
What time of year?
We're going to go down to LA.
Pick the right time of year as far as visiting farms.
Yeah.
Understanding springtime is when stuff is beginning for the most part.
Right. So if I go in like November, I'm good?
November, most outdoor plants will be harvested,
right?
But you'll be smoking some freshly harvested herb.
Right. That's what I'm going
That's the best time to go and smoke.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to wait for it to cure. I do want to see it. I'm like, send me some videos. I want to see my baby growing.
Definitely.
But thank you so much, Derek. It's been so fun having you on here. Did
Thank
you enjoy
Angela.
the show?
Yeah, it was a good time. I got real high. It was my first high of the day. And
high of the day.
Yeah, and I mentioned to you, some clown, next door at the hotel woke me up in the middle of the night. So I didn't get much sleep.
And passed out. Almost drowned himself. That's crazy. Only in Vegas.
Yeah, only in Vegas. A whole lot of fun.
Shout out to Jerome Baker and the Dream Factory here. Shout out to Remy LBC. And y'all are going to see Jerome Baker on the show probably next season, blowing some glass. I don't know what his records are and all that, but I mean, it's crazy.
Record for one of the world's largest bongs.
Yeah. I want to know how big it is.
Yeah, thanks for having me here too. This is a cool glass shop. I'm actually going to peek around when we're done and maybe score a pipe if possible before I split.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you got your, what's it called over there?
The motherships.
The motherships.
Yes.
Yep.
Indeed.
Hey, beam me up.
I'm a
ready.
tool nut.
I'm ready. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
It was fun.
If y'all want to sign up, go to ganjier.com and
thanks for pitching for me. Cool.
Just keep like learning, because it's like it gets deeper. And if you are blessed to be able to live in an environment where you can do this and not worry about, the doors being busted down because you got some weed, here and there, but like for the most part, we're free with it, and that's why I love that it's like getting to this point. So
ultimately, I don't like to hard sell the program because again, we sell out all the time as it is. And you've had friends go through, as you've mentioned. They recommended you go through.
Yeah,
and so that's the best. That's the best. As far just for me, it's about delivering on the promise of that knowledge and skill set and the community that's been born out of Ganjier. And then let everybody else be the ambassadors for the program.
And thanks to your
Sir Smokes a lot.
Smokes a lot.
He got us high. He got us high today. You want to finish this roach after we close up here? Cool.
All right, y'all. Thanks for being here for my bonus episode. I'm gonna be gone for a couple months, just relaxing, focusing on other things, and I'll be back in season 5. But always with something good. Until next time. Peace.